Today's episode of the RN to Writer Show is all about style guides. Today I want to talk to you about what style guides are, what function they perform, and why they mean you don't have to be an expert grammarian to succeed as a writer. But first, a pop quiz. Which of these examples do you think is correct? Example A, an apple, comma, an orange, comma, and a banana. Or example B, an apple, comma, an orange, and a banana. Thinking, which of those is correctly punctuated? Do you have an answer in mind? Well, it was a trick question because they're both correct. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, how can they both be correct when they have different punctuation? The answer is, it depends on the style guide you're using when you create them. A style guide is a publication or document that governs a publication's or client's grammar, punctuation, usage, and sometimes formatting, and even subtle things like voice and tone. A style guide is important because it helps the brand create consistency across all of its written communications, no matter who wrote it. No matter how many writers or editors worked on something, everyone conforms to the same guidelines, which means the brand always sounds the same to the target audience, and that conveys to the audience members that they're going to receive a consistent experience with the brand, no matter how they choose to interact. Here's an example of a style guide a client provided to me when I was writing health articles for them. This style guide covers things like when to use lists and how to format them, how to capitalize certain things, when not to capitalize, how to use commas, and even what type of language they wanted used when describing diseases and treatments. Some clients will produce their own style guide like this, and others will use commonly published style guides such as the Associated Press Style Book. But back to the quiz. So this explains how each of the examples I gave you can be considered correct grammar and punctuation depending on the brand's style guide. So let's go back to example A. I said, an apple, comma, an orange, comma, and a banana. This can be correct if you're using the Chicago Manual of Style, because this example employs the serial comma, also sometimes called the Oxford comma, after an orange. It puts a comma after each item in a sequence of more than two. Now in example B, I said, an apple, comma, an orange, and a banana. No serial comma. This can also be correct if you're using the Associated Press Style Book, which says no to the serial comma in every instance. So why is the style guide important to you as a nurse writer? Well, there are a lot of reasons, but I think the biggest one is that it relieves you of that burden of having to be an expert in all things grammar and punctuation, because all you really have to do is follow the style guide, whether you agree with it or not. And this is an important thing that I want to bring up, because a lot of writers seem to feel that the grammar they learned in high school or college is the one true grammar and everything else is quote-unquote wrong. And that's just not true. Grammar is constantly evolving whether we like it or not. And so you need to check your grammar prejudices at the door and just follow the style guide. And you know what? Us nurses are great at following instructions, which is why we can excel as writers even when we're not an uber expert at grammar. If you're wondering where to get style guides, well, the answer is the editor or client should either provide you with one of their own making, or they should let you know which widely published style guide they use, such as the Associated Press Style Book, which is the most widely used style guide on the journalism side, and some clients create their own style guides off of published guides like the AP Style Book or the Chicago Manual of Style. If they don't give you a style guide, they should at least reference one of the major published style guides, or you need to ask. But if all else fails, you can't go wrong following the AP Style Book. So that's all you need to know today about style guides. To sum up, style guides benefit you by relieving the burden of you needing to be an expert in grammar to succeed as a writer. It's just not true. Secondly, all you have to do is follow the style guide that you're given. And I think you can probably do that. And number 3, if all else fails, just learn the AP Style Book and write to that style. Now here's a bonus tip. There's actually a plugin for Microsoft Word that automatically checks what you're writing to see if it conforms to Associated Press style. This plugin is called Style Guard, and you can find a link to it in the description or the show notes. I hope you found this brief description of style guides useful. And don't forget to subscribe to the RN to Writer show on YouTube or follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Until next time.